the fact is that the liberal elite of the West use the taxpayers' money of United States citizens to spread their ideology all around the world.
We have massive amounts of fraud that we caught. I think we probably caught way over a lot of billions of dollars already in, 2 weeks?
And financed in Hungary more than 60 NGOs, paid politicians, media outlets. It was a plot against our sovereignty and independence.
Look at USAID. That's one. We're going to look at the military. We're going to look at education. They're much bigger areas. But the USAID is really corrupt. It's incompetent and it's really corrupt.
This is the case, and the same has happened from the Brazilian budget, which is even more scandalous, may I say, because we pay the money in the Brazilian budget and they finance our enemies at home, So what's going on? So this is the liberal deep state, the global liberal deep state. And now we see how it has operated.
Leftists took over European Union years ago, and they are so happy because of the system, because they are the ones who are making most out of the system.
Leftists are always ideologically driven, and they believe certain things, which for us sounds crazy, even embarrassing, frightening, but they believe it.
They are in charge of all this bureaucracy. They have people all over the institutions, and like simple man, bureaucrat, is more important than MEP elected by the people. Like over 200,000 people voted for me, and it doesn't matter. If he will decide that this or that is not right, it's not right. This is bureaucracy. And I think Europe will be changed. European Union needs to be changed.
Leaders of the left in Western Europe, deeply convinced that if they let the migrants in, which are basically Muslims, poor Muslim persons, and let them to be combined with the traditional Christian society, and they manage a kind of integration, the outcome of this whole process will be a better and happier society.
We've seen what happened when Europe opened their doors to jihad. Look at Paris, look at London. They're no longer recognizable.
The threat that I worry the most about vis-a-vis Europe is not Russia, it's not China, it's not any other external actor. And what I worry about is the threat from within, the retreat of Europe from some of its most fundamental values shared with the United States of America. I believe there is nothing more urgent than mass migration. The number of immigrants who entered the EU from non-EU countries doubled between 2021 and 2022 alone, and of course it's gotten much higher since. It's the result of a series of conscious decisions made by politicians all over the continent and others across the world over the span of a decade.
They are forcing you to do things you don't want to do. And that is the problem, that Europe is supposed to be the union of sovereign countries. Where is sovereignty? When someone is pushing you, your democratically elected government, to do as they want. This is not democracy. I don't like that. I don't want to live. I don't want to raise my future children as a product of leftism. I do not agree as a Catholic, as a Christian, with abortion, promotion of abortion. I do not agree with transgender ideology, which is present everywhere as a part of LGBT. I do not agree with that. And if you do not agree, you pay. You might be fined. You might pay for what you believe in.
I always said that it belongs to the decision of the national government. So if the Germans or the French would like to make that historical research project, how to improve their society, let's do it. But let us, those who do not believe that the outcome will be a good thing, not to do that. So Hungary never tried to educate anybody how a society could be better or worse. We always said that, guys, let us to make our own decision. And to let migrants in or keep them out, it's exclusively belonging to our nations as a decision. So don't force us from Brussels or from Washington that migration is good, and those who are not let the migrants in definitely must be bad guys. So this is unacceptable.
So we are fighting with the communism in a new modern form, but it's still communism. It's a Marxism. The way they behave same way, many of them. Are trying to use censorship on us to stop us from developing, from reaching out people with our message, with the truth of history and what is happening in leftist states. This is what they tried with Mr. Trump. This is what they are trying now with Mr. Musk. This is what they're trying with us as well. Mr. Trump he went like, if you will cooperate with Russia, if you will buy gas from Russia, you will become dependent. Don't do it.
Very sad when Germany makes a massive oil and gas deal with Russia, where you're supposed to be guarding against Russia, and Germany goes out and pays billions and billions of dollars a year to Russia.
This is what he said to Germans about their cooperation, about Nord Stream 2. They were like this, laughing at Mr. Trump because they didn't treat him, serious. They are not laughing now. You're not laughing now, Germans. Why? Because he became a president again. He will not forget.
With Donald Trump president will change the geopolitics as well. I hope so anyway. But he already made a huge change in the mindset of the political thinking of the West. Previously they said migration is good, to resist to migration is bad. Now it's just the opposite. To defend your interest is good, migration, illegal migration especially, is bad. Then on the Green Deal, they said green is good, economic competitiveness does not count. Now it's obvious that economic competitiveness first and green issues just the second. And then on religious communities and values, Christianity in our case, it was said that it belonged to the Middle Age. They made us ridiculous several times, making jokes on us and so on. But now the president said it's a respectful thing. The community of the believers must enjoy respect, which is good for our society. Or then family in the West, the mindset was that family is also belonging to the past. And gender, which is a crazy gender propaganda, now it's publicly said it's bad. To defend traditional values is good. And war. In Europe in the last 3 years, it was said always that war is good, peace is bad, concerning Ukraine-Russia war. So those who argued in favor of peace and peace negotiations and communication said, you are bad guys. The good guys are who are arguing in favor of war. So now it's totally changed. So Donald Trump president already changed the mindset of the whole Western world. That's where we are at this moment, and it's very good for Hungary.
Not because they disagree. They are not happy because they understand that drill baby drill means that American economy will boom in a minute, and their ideology, sick green ideology of saving the whole globe, even though we are responsible for 7% of the pollution, is suicide. It's madness.
The inflation crisis was caused by massive overspending and escalating energy prices, and that is why today I will also declare a national energy emergency. We will drill, baby, drill.
Democracy means two things at the same time. Participation of the people, involvement, but the involvement of the people must be resulted in good governance. If the involvement of the people, the public opinion, does not result in good governance, it's anarchy, it's not democracy. So democracy means participation of the people by their voting in the major decisions, and the outcome must be a good governance. If one of them is lacking, it's not democracy. And now in Europe we are heading to a position when the people has a chance to vote, but there is no chance to get good governance. So we are moving rather towards a kind of anarchical public life in West Europe.
We need common sense. It doesn't matter if you're a socialist, it doesn't matter if you are called leftist, it doesn't matter. If you have a common sense, you will come back home, because there's so many leftists converting now, saying, oh, I was manipulated, that's wrong, this. And it's good, we want people back from this sect. I do believe that it's possible. We're gonna win elections by taking people back. Hold them, hug them, and say, welcome home. Let's fight for our values, for our families, for our safety, for our development, for our growth in many ways, for our education. So how are we gonna win it? Thanks to Mr. Trump, we're gonna win elections in every country in Europe, making great Europe is a movement of common sense political parties around the world. So von der Leyen, let's send her home. Green Deal, rubbish. Green Deal is a disaster, so we have to get rid of it. Cost of energy, our production, this is disaster. We have to get rid of the commission, which is in favor of this ideology.
And the reason is very simple. There was a quite well-functioning structural model of the German economy and the European economy. That was cheap Russian energy and well-advanced European technology come together, and we are competitive. But now, after the war, we isolated ourselves from the cheap energy, and there is no new strategy, how we could be competitive. So we have a lost strategy, but we don't have a new one. There is no replacement for the old one. So now the problem is that we don't have compass where we should move. So we are just managing the daily work, but there is no real strategy. What is the future of the European economy? No answer of that. That's the reason why China, United States, because President Trump is back, obviously is in a far better position than we are. Lack of leadership, lack of ideas, lack of visions. That's why we suffer. If you don't do something in 3 years' time to push down the price of the energy and to make Europe competitive, especially by creating a capital market at the European Union level, the European Union economy is over. So now we pay 3-4 times higher price for the electricity than you do it in the United States, and 5-6 times higher price for gas than you do in the United States. How our companies can be competitive? So we have to do something to keep the capital inside the European Union, but we don't have a strategy how to do it. So now the European Union is really at a watershed. So connectivity is the word, not blocking. The European Union tried to build up block instead of running connectivity, strategy based on connectivity, and do on a common sense based business with everybody who can provide something good for the European Union. So